what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks right here on the Mayo Media Network. I'm your host, Chris Meaney. Thanks, as always, for taking the time to hang out. It is Game 6 tonight between the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Bolts have a 3-2 series lead thanks to a beatdown on home ice in Game 5. An 8-0 victory for the defending Stanley Cup champs, who can punch their ticket back to the finals with a victory at Nassau Coliseum. It's not going to be easy for Tampa. I know that they're probably coming in feeling pretty good about themselves, the momentum, an 8-0 victory, but when you beat a team like that, usually see the other team's best effort, focus, especially with their season on the line. We'll break it all down in just a little bit. I was halfway done this recording hours ago, so my apologies, coming out a little bit late. A wicked thunderstorm here on the East Coast, and I lost power halfway through a recording. Probably should have done it last night or earlier this morning, but let's be honest, I was in no shape or form to do it, and I'm just not feeling 100% today, but I'll be honest, I am feeling pretty good. The emotions are running high. This was for Matty Best. That's for Matty Best. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself here today with the Canadiens, but it has been a heck of a run. And I'll be honest, I was on the Golden Knights last night. I thought we would see their best performance last night, and I think at some point, right now, maybe, we just have to give the Canadiens credit, right? It was just hard on the Leafs, and Marner and Matthews, where were they? They had one goal combined. Scheifele only played in one game, so we can't give the Habs credit for that one. It was just the Leafs choking it away. And then here in the third round, we got goals from up front from Vegas. Max Pacioretty has one. He scored his first of the series last night. Nicholas Roy has two, and Matthias Janmark has one. Mark Stone doesn't have a point. He played awful last night. Big turnover caused a goal, the third goal of the game. And at some point, you just have to give credit to the Canadiens. I thought they played an absolute complete game in Game 4 and last night in Game 5 in a hostile environment in Vegas. Took the crowd out of it right away. Just didn't give the Golden Knights really anything. Thought Carey Price was strong, but it wasn't all Carey Price last night. So just riding this high, very surprised, to be honest with you. If you've been riding Montreal, they're paying the bills. They're paying the mortgage every month, aren't they? They've been basically 3-1 in every game this year, throughout this run. Besides Winnipeg, I was on them in 3 of the 4 against the Jets. I'd be honest, man, I haven't really been on them here against Vegas or against the Leafs. I had the Canadiens on the handicap series plus 2.5. I had the series going 6, but both of those were like minus 140, minus 130 bets. I had this Tampa and New York series going 6 as well. That was another minus 130, minus 140. So round 3 has been pretty good. But, I was on Vegas last night. I got the Pietrangelo shot prop, the Pacioretty anytime goal, Suzuki shot prop. But I really thought we would see a little bit more from the Golden Knights. I put 2 units on them to win that hockey game last night, and they just didn't get it done. So I know you're not here to, get my thoughts on the Canadiens and the Golden Knights. You're here about tonight's game, so let's get after it. This show is brought to you by Prize Picks, so that's kind of where I should have started here. My apologies, guys. Riding a little bit of a high here today, not going to lie. But there's still one more game to be won for Montreal, but it is hard to believe that they are one win away from reaching the Stanley Cup Finals. It really is hard to believe. Come on. Nobody thought that this was coming. No one. There's no way. If anyone would have said it, I said, you're out to lunch. There's just no way. But here we are. And you may not believe in them, but they believe in themselves, and I know that may be corny to say and hear, but they're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and it shows. It really does show. But you're here to listen to me break down the Islanders and the Bolts. The guys will break down the Habs and the Golden Knights tomorrow. But for me tonight, the Islanders and the Bolts, and for prizepicks.com, if you're just new, well, lots of great content here, of course, at Mayo Media Network. Subscribe, smash a like button. You have a comment, a question, a concern, leave it there in the YouTube section. I'll circle back before puck drop, but you can mix and match across all the sports that you love over at prizepicks.com. Great Prize Picks baseball picks at the Mayo Media Network. So if you're subscribed, you're going to get those picks, and you can mix and match, right? So you got NBA playoffs, you get a handful of games around the dime, and NHL playoffs tonight. And over at prizepicks.com, they already have fantasy score props for tomorrow night's action between the Habs and the Golden Knights, Game 6 at the Bell Center. So you can mix and match for tonight and for tomorrow, but I'll be honest, when I'm looking over at prizepicks.com, I'm taking a look at some of the shot props to see a low-scoring game here tonight, and I don't really have the stones to take the under 4.4 on Braden Point, the under 4.6 on Nikita Kucherov, the under on Stamkos 3.4. It's fairly low. I know he had the breakout game. He hasn't been that strong, but just one goal, and it's over. So I think I'm going to attack the shot props, but to be honest with you, if you wanted to ride with Point and Kucherov, I get it, especially Point at 4.4. He's got goals in 8 straight games, 13 goals, 18 points in 16 playoff games. He's got 18 goals in his last 21 playoff games. Last year, dating back to the bubble last year, 38 playoff games, he's got 51 points and 27 goals, at least 2 shots in every game, 4 in game 5. That's the one guy that I feel like the over could be in play with Braden Point. But I still think Kucherov at 4.6 is high. And again, I just don't have the stones to take the under or give that advice to you to take the under. But that's where I'm leaning. And I think I'm just going to take the under in his shot prop at 2.5. And that's what I think I'm going to attack here at prizepicks.com, because I do feel like there's a low-scoring game here tonight. Both goalies are at 27 saves. I don't want to take the under on that or the over. I see a tight checking game, a more like complete sound game, especially after that blowout from the Islanders on home ice where they've been strong all year. But I'll just rattle off some stuff here for Kucherov and kind of tell you why I'm leaning with the under. Of course, you see the 3 assists in game 5, points in 8 straight, 15 over that span. 3 games over this run with at least 3 points, 2 3-point games in this series, no goals, 9 points in 5 games. Why the heck would you take the under on Kucherov 4.6? 61 points in his last 41 playoff games. 2 road games in this series in New York, where the Islanders get the last change, where they've been good, I mentioned, all year. They did a great job at defending Pittsburgh and Sidney Crosby on home ice. They did a great job in defending the Bergeron line on home ice as well. So in 2 road games in this series, only 2 shots and 2 assists for Nikita Kucherov. 3 road games in the Carolina series, and he only had 2 assists in 3 road games as well. So he's been under 3 shots in 5 of his last 6 games. He's a pass-first guy. He really is, especially on the power play too. Plays pitch and catch with Hedman. He looks for Stammer across the way. Point is in the slot, looks for that kind of one-touch tip, and then sends it down low to Killorn, and they do the one-time or the point, or he sends it across to Stammer, or he sends it back to Hedman or Kucherov, and they just kind of look for that pass. So he's been much better on home ice. He's been awesome throughout the entire playoffs and last year too. So it's hard to knock this guy at all. And I'll be honest, it's hard to try to convince you to take the under on something. But under 2.5 shots is kind of where I'm feeling. My apologies, Matty Best, to go this long without giving you my actual 2 favorite plays here at Prize Picks. My bad, man. It's been a heck of a night. John Gabriel Pageau, 2 shots. 4 in his last game, 4, 1, 3, 2, and 2. So he's been at least at 2 in 4 of the 5. 2 gets us the push. I think he gets over 2 here tonight. And then Jordan Eberle is probably my favorite one. And I could have just started this entire show with him. 3 shots in game 5, 3-0-2, 3-2. He's had at least 2 in 14 of 17 games. I really do expect Jordan Eberle to show up here tonight. I expect a strong showing from him and from Barzal. So it's Eberle who leads the Islanders with 22 shot attempts. He only has 10 shots, but 22 shot attempts. And then it's Barzal next at 20 shot attempts and 9 shots. He's got the highest expected goal for rate here among Islanders players. So when you look up and down this Islanders lineup, there's not a lot of guys who are shooting the puck here. I mean, Beauvillier has 12. Nelson has 7. Barzal 9. And Eberle's got 10. John Gabriel Pageau has 12. Cal Clutterbuck has 11. Beauvillier has the 12, leads the way. So that's why I think their shot props are low, but 2 is just too low. Like 2, I think we can get there, and I mentioned the push is in play. So I'm going to take the over on Eberle, the over on John Gabriel Pageau, the under on Nikita Kucherov 2.5. But Braden Point, if you're looking for that over and you're looking to get involved, the fantasy score, a 4th one, he would be the guy for me, 4.4. The promo code is MMN. 100% first deposit match of up to $100. Doesn't have to be a $100 entry. It could be 50, could be 20, could be 10, whatever you want. They will match it, though, 100% using that promo code. Link inside the description of this video. So for tonight, Islanders and Tampa. Minus 148 money line, Tampa, using the free prop shop and parlay calculator over at ftmbets.com. Islanders plus 130, the total here 5. Under 5 is plus 105. Alternate line, which I do like, at minus 159, under 5.5. I think the Islanders hang around in this game. I'm not completely sold that they do win it. I have a lean to them getting the job done here tonight on home ice. I mentioned it's going to be a bumping building. Just the attention to detail, especially after losing 8-0. I just, they're a strong hockey team. Put it that way. Varlamov has been good here in the playoffs. That was just I think an outlier game, 8-0 final. So my lean here is just to play conservative. Maybe I just don't have the stones here, but a conservative game, plus 208 for the Islanders on the puck line in the under 5. If you want to go Tampa at minus 148, those are pretty good odds. I can't blame you really for riding that wave and saying, okay, here's the champs, defending champs. When it was a 2-3 on home ice, it was all business, and they won 8-0, and that carries over to the next game. I mean, I can't fault you for any of that. It's just, it has been a bit of a different series. At least Tampa's kind of showing up and showing that, they are the better team, where in the other series, it has looked like the Canadians have been the better team for the past couple of games now, and they seem to be in Vegas's head. But with the Lightning, I don't have that feel. I feel like a bounce-back performance. I think both goalies have a strong showing. I like the under. I like the Islanders, puck line, and the under 208. That's where I'm at. If you want to go all in on the Islanders, again, looking over at the prop shop at the parlay calculator, plus 383 for the Islanders to win and under 5. Under 5, I think, is a pretty good play. It's probably the strongest play here in terms of just picking sides and totals. Plus 110 for the under 5. I'm now seeing that as the best possible odds over at ftmbets.com, free parlay calculator. But as I've said all year in round 3, and round 3 has been pretty good in sides. I admit I was completely off base with the Golden Knights last night. The guys will break Vegas and Montreal down for you perfectly for tomorrow. I have a feel that the Canadians maybe close that one out, but I think, when you see some of these odds, especially more so in the Montreal and Vegas series, it was tough to say, okay, the Habs are definitely going to win this. I mean, they're almost 3-1. Okay, let's be, conservative and take Montreal on the puck line. It's just it's been hard to take Vegas money line over there. It's really just juiced up. It's tough. You want to get involved with some props. And it's kind of the same way I feel here tonight. I think the Islanders and the puck line at plus 208 with the under in there is a pretty decent parlay, but the props, I think, is kind of where it's at. John Gabriel Pajot, I mentioned him off the top. It's just 1.5. I'm seeing his shot prop at minus 145. It's one that I really like. Yanni Gourde, we got him the other day, 1.5 shots at minus 145. He's looked really strong. That third line has looked good here in this round. I know that all the goals are not there. We had Yanni Gourde really in the DraftKings showdown. I thought I gave him a lot of love for shot props and just to get him involved in your showdown life. But, I mean, he only had the one goal. I thought early on when he scored it, we were on our way, but there was 8 goals, and most of them came from stud players on the Bolts. But 1.5 shot prop, minus 145. I like John Gabriel Pajot, minus 145, 1.5 shots as well. Again, use that prop shop over at ftmbets.com. But I think here for, it's Point and Hedman. I think there's a lot of value to be had with these guys. Let's start with Braden Point. I mean, I just mentioned what he has done over the past 40 games, 38 playoff games, his last 38. He's got 27 goals and 51 points. It's crazy. So for an assist tonight, plus 170, that's pretty solid. I know he's scoring goals, but considering he's on the number one power play and the players that he plays with, just to fall into an assist here is plus 170. For a point is minus 160. And then to have over 2.5 shots is plus 100. I like all 3 of those bets. I think he gets 3 shots. I think he probably scores again. I mean, it's crazy that you can say, is he going to score again 9 straight games? But, my goodness, man. He's going to be trying to do it. Teammates are going to be looking for him just a little bit. He wants to score 9 straight games. And if they do get up 3-2 or they're up 2-1 or 1-0 at any point and the Islanders pull their goalie, I mean, he's going to be on the ice, right? And if they're down 2 goals and the Islanders continue to pull their goalie, because at that point, what does it matter? If they're down 3 goals with 4 minutes left, they're going to pull their goalie. And then, maybe Point gets on the ice and he finds a point that way or a goal. But I like all of those props. So Point plus 100, 2.5 shots. Point for a point, minus 160. For an assist, a little bit of a longer shot at plus 170. I think Hedman's in play as well. For a point, minus 140. For an assist, minus 110. But Yanni Gourde and John Gabriel Pajot are the shot props I'm looking at, 1.5 and 1.5 for both of those guys at minus 145. I'd consider the under on Stamkos 2.5. I know I was completely wrong on that. He had the 8 shot attempts and 5 shots in the last game. So I get that. A lot of guys had a massive amount of shot props in that game 5. Point had 5 shot attempts and 4 shots. Tyler Johnson had 6 shot attempts and 4 shots. 8 skaters with at least 3 shot attempts in game 5. And the same can't be said for the Islanders. Beauvillier led the way with 6 attempts, 4 shots. John Gabriel Pajot, 4 shots on 5 attempts. And Eberle, 3 attempts, 3 shots on goal. I don't think I would take the over 2.5 on Beauvillier, but I would take it on Eberle. That one you could find at plus money. That's the one Islander I think I feel pretty confident in. And then Barzal would be plus money. I think we'll see a strong effort from those guys, right? It's a must-win situation, bounce-back performance here. I don't know how many more times I need to say it. For DraftKings and the showdown strategy, I think you got to go with the goaltenders, don't you? You got to ride with both goalies. I think you can play them in both lineups. I can't imagine too many of my lineups without one of them in it. To be honest with you, I see a low-scoring game. Again, 2-1. 1-0, 3-2. This is kind of how I feel. If you feel it's going to be a high-scoring game, I mean, if you have that, you always, when doing these showdowns, you have to paint a picture in your head, a script on how it's going to show. It happens across all the sports. You just have to play it out in your mind. And if you feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game, then you attack goals. You attack the offense. If you feel like, I don't know, the Islanders win 4-1, then get involved with Varlamov, because if they win 4-1, it's probably because Varlamov had an amazing game. So consider him as the captain. Maybe consider Eberle or Barzal as the captain. But for me, it's Varlamov. One, I think we're going to get lower ownership. He's a little bit more expensive. I think people will just automatically go to Vasilevsky. So Varlamov, but Vasilevsky's in play for me. Point is in play for me. Hedman's in play. And then I would go with Eberle and Barzal as captains. But honestly, it's going to be the two goalies for me. I'm probably going to have a lot of lineups with both of them in the same lineup. I don't know how many I'm going to have with neither of them in. Like, I think I got to have at least one. That's kind of how I feel here. There is some value in Clutterbuck again at 2K. He does have 11 shot attempts. He actually has the second highest expected goal rate on the Islanders. Like, that can't happen. Like, no disrespect to Clutterbuck. I know that Barry Trotz rolls the identity line, and they've been pretty good here, but I think especially really good at home. You get that crowd, you lay a big hit, and then, it's bumping. But they do roll 4 lines, but he's got 11 shots here, which is third on the team. A 1.35 expected goals for, which is the second best mark, as I mentioned, on the Islanders. Barzal leads the way at 1.54, but that's with him not getting any power play time. So at him at 2K, it's okay. Cizikas at 3.6, it's fine. But that's really it. Like, if you go with an Islanders heavy team, then you're going to have to try to find some value plays over at Tampa. And I think it'd be Yanni Gourde or Anthony Cirelli. Look, those are the two that I'm looking at. Or maybe you go Cirelli and Coleman, or Cirelli and Goudreau, and maybe that third line finds one goal, and then the Islanders roll and they score. But I just don't see a high scoring game here tonight. So I'm riding with the goalies. I think Varlamov over Vasilevsky, but both are absolutely in play. I don't know how you ignore Braden Point. I would have him in. I'd say if I'm making 10 lineups, I'd have Point in at least 8 of them. And for defensemen, Hedman is by far the best here in the series, the highest ceiling. He's playing a lot of ice time. Nobody has more ice time than Hedman here. He's got I got it written down here somewhere. He's got, I believe, 5 points here in the series. He had 2 points. Yeah, he's got 2 assists in game 5, 5 points in 5 games. He got 11 blocks, 10 shots. Not blocking a lot of shots, but he's, he's contributing, right? 21 blocks, combined blocks and shots is not bad, but Hedman by far. And then if you want another one, it would be Pulock. I think Pulock, the fact that he's playing on the power play, he could rack up a few blocks. He's got a lethal cannon from the point, so he's a guy that I would consider riding as well. You want to cheap out, maybe drop down to a Nick Leddy or an Eric Chernak or something like that. But for Dobson, he just doesn't get enough ice time for me. He does get some power play time, but the Islanders don't really trust him. He can't play a guy who's going to get like 7 to 10 minutes. It just doesn't really seem like a smart play there. That's really it, man. I don't think I have too much more to offer. I'd like just to recap here tonight from a showdown standpoint. It's the 2 goalies. Get Braden Point in your life. I think Yanni Gourde makes for a strong play. And then don't be afraid if you're playing more than one lineup. Like, if you're just going to play one lineup and you're going to roll with the Bolts, you got to think outside the box here. Like, if it's a multi-entry tournament that you're entering and you're just going to play one lineup, chances are that Tampa Bay filled lineup that you have, mostly everyone's going to have it. Guys are going to have Point and Kucherov, right? If you are going to go with Tampa, maybe you ride the second line again. Maybe you go Killorn and Stammer or Cirelli, or maybe you go with that third line in Goudreau, or I would probably go Coleman and Yanni Gourde. But maybe just be a little different tonight. Get those goalies in. Get a piece of the second line. I think, as much as I've talked up Eberle and Barzal, I think the most consistent line here throughout the playoffs, and I know Barzal has been really good over the past 8 or 9 games, has been the Nelson, Beauvillier, and Bailey line. So Bailey's a bit of a pass-first guy. I think Beauvillier and Nelson make for a strong duo to get them involved, maybe with Pulock, or maybe you get Barzal and Eberle and something like that. But I just don't think a heavy Islanders lineup will be the recipe. Like a contrarian lineup, that's the contrarian way. But you get Varlamov in there maybe as your captain. Maybe you have Vasilevsky in there as well, and then maybe you have Point, and then potentially a Nelson Beauvillier stack or a Barzal Eberle stack, and then you cheap out where you can, with a Clutterbuck at 2K or Cizikas hovering around 3.6. That's it. That's all I got for you tonight. I think the Islanders puck line and the under being a kind of a coward here, but I do think the Islanders win 3-2 and force a 7th game in the series. For tomorrow, I think the Habs close that one out. I've said it before. I think we'll see Vegas' best effort. I'm sure that they're going to be full tilt, but again, the Canadians just it seems like they have their style and they're kind of rolling with that one. So again, on the way out, shot prop over 1.5 for John Gabriel Pageau and for Yanni Gourde. I like point to get a point to get an assist, over 2.5 shots for him as well. That's kind of just where I'm at. The lean on the under, Stamkos 2.5 shots at -145, and for Prize Picks, the under Kucherov 2.5 shots. Let's sweat that one out together, guys. Let's do that one together. John Gabriel Pageau and Jordan Eberle over 2 shots as well. Any questions, hit me up at Chris Meaney. Good luck. Enjoy the hockey. And, if this series closes, I won't be back on Friday to break it down, but we will have like a bit of a Stanley Cup preview show here with you. We'll get Cam together. We'll try to make it work with Cam and Matty Best to break down the Stanley Cup finals. So good luck on the ice tonight. Use that promo code MMN, and lots of action over at prizepicks.com. Leave a question if you have it. I will circle back before a puck drop. Thanks for taking the time to hang out and bearing with me all over the place. I know. Ole. Cheers.